buy from us. We probably couldn't pass a background check. State legislature does not support this yet. Clearly the Cunningham GOP doesn't, because they were auctioning Glocks last year. My sense is that under current law, we cannot adopt more restrictive language, but what the state legislature cannot do is it cannot compel us to be complicit in illegal activity. The only way that we can determine whether or not a person-to-person sale is legal is to do the check. This isn't going to solve the problem. It will certainly reduce the problem. So what I'm suggesting is, one other thing before I turn it over to Karen. There are going to be people who suggest that we're creating a procedural roadblock. It's not our job up here to make the purchase of firearms more convenient. It is certainly our job to make it safer. And so I'm suggesting we close the loophole. So the motion will be that we require background checks on every gun purchase that occurs on city-owned or managed property, and that until, and we have direct the city attorney to bring that language back in the form of resolution, and until it's enacted and adopted, that we issue no more permits for gun sales on city property until this is in place.
I would second that motion. If I could, Mr. Mayor.
We have a motion and second. Councilman Uhlich.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You know, a lot of eyes are on us in Tucson, and I feel so proud to look out at the audience and see so many members of the community. The response to this issue has been overwhelmingly in support of reasonable safeguards for the public. And so I'm proud to bring this forward with Councilmember Kozachik. You know, I also would say that it's not those of us necessarily around the table who are leaders on this issue. It's us doing our jobs, and that is to represent the will of our community. And it is very clear to me that Tucsonans want us to take any and every step that's within our power until there are safeguards put in place and reasonable gun laws put in place at the national level. So it's incumbent on us to do this in response to the leadership of people in our community. And people have been fighting on this front in Tucson for years, homicide survivors. And in fact, I joined the survivors of the January 8th shooting in April of 2011 with fixgunchecks.org, law enforcement officials, faith community leaders, survivors of the shooting. This has been something that has been a long time coming. And I won't forget that in August of last year, when we joined with demand of plan at the national level, the testimony of the people at that hearing, and their thought was, it's not too soon to look at these kinds of measures. We are way too late. And so for all of us who want to see this happen, I think we're doing what's right and what's perfectly in keeping with the will of the people of Tucson. Thank you.
Councilwomen Romero.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I'd like to thank both Councilmembers Kozachik and Councilman Uhlich for bringing this to the table. You know, the people of the city of Tucson are asking us to be responsive to an issue that some people might think is a state issue, or some people might think is a national issue, but it's a community issue. The city of Tucson and the community of Tucson suffered greatly January 8th of 2011 when our friends, our representative, Gabrielle Gifford, suffered because of the loot laws involved with gun checks and guns. And so, you know, the people that suffered in that incident, our friends, our neighbors, our children, and Christina Green, our community suffered. And December 14th of 2012, it was not just Tucson or Aurora or other places that have suffered massacres, but it was our children. The children of our nation suffered. And having a 6-year-old son, it was very tough. It was very, very tough. The second most safe place in my mind for my child to go is school. And so the parents and children of our nation suffered, and it really woke us up. It woke me up, it woke many of us up to do something that's common sense. Common sense laws that will help protect our children, that will help protect our community, that will help protect our people. And so I do support wholeheartedly the motion that the City of Tucson Mayor and Council are moving towards today. I think we cannot go at it alone. I think we have to make sure that the next step for the advocates of common sense laws to protect our community have to follow up, right? It's the City of Tucson Mayor and Council follow up with Pima County, follow up with the state of Arizona, follow up with our federal government. So I would say, yes, I have to support wholeheartedly what we're doing today, but we cannot do it alone, and we have to make sure that we follow up within our state. It's one last comment. How can we ignore a national consensus? The CBS News and the New York Times told people from January 11th to the 15th, and 92% of the American people, 92% of the American people support a background check on all potential Trump hires. We cannot ignore a national, almost national consensus.
Councilman Kozachik, just some clarification as you're asking for direction or forwarding direction to the city attorney on this. What I heard you say was that there were to be background checks on all city-owned and city-managed properties, and that there would be no person-to-person sales until the ordinance was adopted.
Clarify, the motion is simply that we are, on any firearm sale that occurs on city-owned or managed property will require a background check.
Okay, got it.
And in the form of a resolution, and Mike can explain the difference between a resolution and an ordinance, why we're doing it that way. The second part of the motion was until this language is in place, we will not issue permits for gun shows on our city-owned or managed properties. If we get sued by the state and there's a stay on this, then we will similarly not issue permits, but until this ordinance is in place and the language is fine.
Mr. Rankin?
And Mr. Mayor, members of council, what I would do if this motion passes is, in fact, bring back a resolution. And the reason it would be a resolution is it would be a codification, if you will, of this, I think, policy. A policy relating to one of your proprietary functions. In other words, how you manage the property that we control. This is not a question of imposing regulations on gun sales or gun shows throughout the city. This is a question of a mayor and council policy on how your properties that we use in a proprietary fashion, quite frankly, the DCC, that's really the only venue where gun shows have occurred, really could occur. And imposing conditions as a condition of the use of that facility. So the resolution would give us the opportunity to lay that out very clearly.
Councilman Kozachik, is that your?
Yes, exactly, and then that's the reason for these resolutions as opposed to an ordinance. And so I absolutely agree with Rena that let's be honest, we're making those PCBs in the county government. So I would love to see the county join in this, just as they did with the Greyhound anabolic steroids. We're the epicenter of this issue, and the community members who showed up, stand up. As Karen was saying, this is a community-wide issue. This is just a few people sitting up here at the table. We didn't invent this issue. We're responding to the will of the community. And so thank you all for taking the time out to come down here. And I just hope we get the majority of votes moving forward.
Councilman Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There's so much going on with this issue that is heartbreaking, as has been stated at this table. And I certainly wish that with the stroke of a pen, this would resolve illegal activities and stop criminals in their tracks. I don't think it will. It will simply add to the contributing factors that might allow criminals to get hold of handguns and other shooting devices. As part of this, there's a mental health issue. I think that has to be addressed within this, in the long run, certainly not this specific resolution. But as I did a little research, and it sounds like I'm not going to support it, and it's not the case, but as you look at the other side of the argument, California, for example, had last year a higher murder rate than the rates of 30 other states, yet they require the sale of private firearms must be done through a licensed dealer, and all firearms are recorded by the state and require a 10-day waiting period. That's on their books, and yet they have a higher murder rate. Another example is Washington, D.C., that banned handguns in 1976, and yet killings rose 156%. Chicago outlawed handguns in 1982, but murders jumped 41%. Recently, England decided to arm some of their police officers called bodies. So those are some hard facts that also need to be looked at as part of the reality. As I said, I wish with a stroke of a pen we could stop this murder and those things that are happening. I think we need to do a lot more work with regard to mental health issues and how they are associated with these crimes. And there has to be activity from those who work with the mentally unhealthy people to deal with them before they can have an opportunity to do damage in our community. And so I certainly stress that. As one of the fathers, Mr. Mark Montioli said, and he was the father of one of the 6-year-old children that was killed in Sandy Hook, he said, there are more than enough gun laws on the books. Criminals, by definition, break the law. So I think that there is so much more to this argument, but this specific thing takes focus on our facilities that have belonged to you, the citizens of this community, the TCC in particular. And so I will be supporting this, just so you know. But I do know that these other facts are at play. And I did ask of the city attorney to clarify whether this was just for the TCC or all city-owned, managed, or owned facilities, if that included parks, sidewalks, roads, and any other thing that belongs to you, the citizens. And I think that the city attorney said this applies specifically to the Tucson Convention Center. Is that correct, sir?
Councilmember Scott, members of the council, both as a practical matter and for various legal reasons, it really is only our ability to do this is only for properties that we operate in a proprietary function. So properties we operate like a business. So that's not parks and sidewalks. And in the context of gun shows, quite frankly,
And the other thing that happened was there was a gun buyback that occurred at the Hardesty police station. And I believe there were some exchanges that occurred where there were no background checks. And I certainly hope that as a result of that no guns that pass from those present to those who are buying, that no bad ill comes from that. I just had to mention that was at least one incident where 2 individuals exchanged money for guns. Thank you.
And let me comment on that, because that's exactly the incident that brought this to light. The folks who were holding their buyback out on the periphery of the ones that the Safeway and actually the citizens of this community funded with over $10,000 of their own private money. Those people standing out on the right of way with their cash for gun signs, and me walking up to you, handing you $100 and walking away with a gun when you don't know anything about my criminal background or my mental health background, anything at all. That is exactly the point that brought this to the forefront. If that can be done 50 feet away from 2 dozen cops, then we got a problem, and we need to fix that loophole. Now, what we're doing today is we're simply saying we're not going to give that person who would otherwise fail a background check a second chance by buying one from somebody without having to go through the background check. And so you're right to bring up all the other issues, but because we can't solve everything doesn't mean we shouldn't do something.
But don't you think that those who are selling the guns at a person-to-person sale might also have to have a gun background check?
If there's-
Potentially, because the seller should be as wholesome.
Sure, and if in the unlikely scenario that has been presented that in a gun show, for instance, the seller sells somebody a gun, the buyer fails the background check, and then in subsequent, in turning it back over, we find out that the seller also would have failed it. Then we basically said, great, you just proved the point. Neither of us should have got the gun. So the people who make that argument are simply making the case for us.
Mr. City Clerk, Mr. City Attorney, I would like to make as part of the record an email received from Ken Renier, who is the president of Gun Owners of Arizona, and I'm going to hand that to the clerk. I think all the council members received this, and I would like Mr. Rankin, for the record, to address Mr. Renier's objections and indicate the city's position on that.
And Mr. Mayor, you forwarded that email to me earlier, so I had the opportunity to review it, which I appreciate. Mr. Renier's points really mischaracterized the proposal as I understood it at the time and now, which is very clear, and characterized this as an attempt to ban person-to-person sales. And clearly that's not what the proposal is. It's to include the condition with the use of the city's property in the context of gun shows that all sales would involve a background check. Secondly, AP characterized this as affecting pawn shops, secondhand shops, which is not the case. It's not part of the scope of the motion that's on the table. And 30, proposed a scenario in which a condition that's present in our pawn shop and secondhand dealer regulations, Chapter 7 of our code, would cause an untenable situation with a 20-day hold on a firearm, etc. The fact of the matter is that those Chapter 7 regulations would not apply to gun shows in the TCC.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Councilmember Fimbres.
Just a point of clarification, Mr. Mayor, for Mike Rankin. Can you clarify who specifically owns the TCC? Is it the city of Tucson or the real level board?
Mr. Mayor,
And the legality of this resolution?
Sure, Councilmember Fimbres. The city is actually the sub-lessee, the tenant of the relevant portions of the TCC. We lease it from Rio Nuevo District, who technically actually leases it from the bank, Wells Fargo. But as the sub-lessee under the lease agreement, we have control of the property. We have operational authority over the property, and there is no consent authority by the other entities I just mentioned with respect to these types of decisions.
So we are the authority figure in this process.
That's right. You have the authority to make the decisions in terms of what types of events would be authorized or permitted within the building.
Now, with this resolution, if, say, a gun show that does background checks can still utilize the TCC, is that what I'm hearing in this resolution? As long as they're doing the background checks?
That's correct. All right, anything else? And that nuance as to the ownership is the reason I included owned or managed by in the resident.
Mr. Miranda.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, for council information, we have 2 scheduled gun shows, one in September, one in November, that we have not signed contracts for, and we have one in March of 14 that we have not signed contracts with to the point of the finish.
So we'll have ample opportunity here to clarify before any other gun show. Councilman Brewer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just as you prepare the documents, Mike, because we do lease ramadas and other things in our parks, I want to make sure that you're looking at that specifically to make sure that as we manage facilities, that functions aren't occurring there that would be out of compliance with this event.
Okay. Any more discussion? Hearing none. We have a motion and a second. Motion made by Councilmember Kozachik and seconded by Councilmember Uhlich. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes.